Charge move incoming AK. Thinking about calling the bait last second, commit to shield the opponent bait with the Sacred Fire and switch out into Mewtwo. With no Protect shields remaining, but stay in school kids. Learn to count, we catch the resisted side strike onto our Shadow Magnezone. Welcome back to the channel. I'll be honest, I think this week is probably the worst week we've ever had for PvP. Psychic Cup has all of about 10 Pokemon. It's pretty terrible. Once you've seen a few battles, you've seen them all. The only other option we've got is Open Master League. And I think there's a few problems with that format. You either spend a load of money on this game, I'll be honest, that's completely fine. If you've got the money, enjoy yourself. However, other people that like to play Master League are the people that cheat. Yep, I'm going to throw it out there. You people with these XL mythicals, oh, I ride my bike to work, I've got all the candy. Bullshit, you used to cheat, it is what it is, and it is not for me. However, today, one of our channel regulars has got some content that I am more than happy to shoutcast. Akchillywilly, who we're going to call AK for the duration of the video, not to be confused with Pokey AK, of course. Shout out to Big Pokey, he also likes to chat the truth. I'll leave it at that. As I don't really want to ramble on for days and days in this intro, I'm sure you want to see the battles. So we've got a full team with no mythicals, no legendaries are in sight. We've got ABA shadows, we've got a very interesting shadow in the form of Magnezone in the lead. We're going to have two sets with it on Spark, which some people say got nerfed, some people say got buffed. I'm going to say it got rebalanced. Generates less energy for more damage. The final set will be it using Volt Switch. We've also got Shadow Swampert, which definitely did receive a nerf as Earthquake. Now does less damage. Rounding the team off, we've got Dragonite. Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. And in game one, we lead Shadow Magnezone into Magnezone. We farm up, fire off the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot does hit for super effective, but it's not a very good move. There's no shot. Please tell me we caught the high horsepower. Holy cow, what a catch. However, what isn't brilliant is a Togekiss answering our Dragonite. So if you are going to play Master League, Dragonite most certainly is not a safe switch. However, AK just going to use Dragonite to lure out the Togekiss and now hope that Swampert can sweep in the back. We send back out Magnezone. We fire off the Mirror Shot after just 3 sparks when using 2 turn versus 3 turn. You do want to throw out 1, 4 or 7. But regardless, so we do draw a Protect Shield. AK gonna match shields. The opponent full sends the Flamethrower. Can the newly rebalanced Spark get the full farm down? Yes, we can. Magnezone now leaves. Absolutely loaded. The opponent send out Excadrill. We're going to fire off the Wild Charge, which is double resisted. But Excadrill, well, I was going to say it's pretty squishy, but it did tank that like an absolute champ. Swampert now in the driver's seat to sweep the backline. Drill Run lands for reasonable damage. Swampert now farming up, firing off the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon will vanquish Excadrill. Back to their Pokeball. The opponent chooses to invest their final Protect Shield. AK can match shields. Excadrill is energy dry, as is the Mammoth, so Swampert can easily outpace the remainder of the team. Back out comes the Mammo. It's going to be high Mammo, bye Mammo. Get wrecked, back out, it's going to come Excadrill, and they can also eat a Hydro Cannon to their face. Swampert, a Pokemon I like to call the GOAT, proving its worth in the Master League in game number 1. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see the Battle of Steel types, our beautiful Shadow Magnezone into this absolute sacrilege of a purified Metagross. AK farms up, fires off the Wild Charge, one before the potential Earthquake Wild Charge, force of protection, we then pivot out, looking to catch the move onto Swampert. The thing is, when you use Shadow Pokemon, people love to bait. We catch the resisted Meteor Mash onto Swampert, and again we see Togekiss or Togepiss enter the battlefield. AK this time fires up much better fast move time and allowing himself to make back-to-back Hydro Cannons. This second Hydro Cannon won't knock out, but will leave Togekiss incredibly low. Togekiss does commit to the full tap-tap, charm down, farm down. They've only got 7 charms worth of energy. They're going to be 3 away from the Flamethrower. We send back up Magnezone. AK evidently counting. We see the instant no shield deployed. Ancient Power does absolutely nothing. We get the full spark down the opponent. Send out Groudon. In comes Dragonite, and Dragonite with a 2-to-1 shield advantage, looking primed to sweep this back line. AK just needs to shield at the Meteor Mash. It takes Metagross 8 bullet punches, then 7 for the further Meteor Mashes. So AK should be able to outpace this Metagross to the back-to-back Dragon Claws. The opponent invests a very poor shield. In my humble opinion, this next Dragon Claw hopefully knocks out. It actually doesn't. We do get the Dragon Breath farm down. Groudon does come out, but what the heck is this opponent going to throw? They can throw the Precipice Blades, hell, throw the Fire Blast or Solar Beam if you've got it, but regardless, Dragonite resists it all. The opponent is playing out the inevitable. but this is going to be game over. We fire off the first Dragon Claw, getting Groudon down into around the red. We then look to make a catch for no reason whatsoever other than playing with our food. The opponent's wasting our times. AK chooses to waste theirs. We come back into Dragonite, fire off the Dragon Claw, and it's going to be Spice 1, BBML nil. GG's, and thanks for playing. If anyone from Match of the Day is watching and you need someone to commentate on some football, hook me up. As always, we've got distracted. I've got that distracted. What the heck happened there? Apparently the opponent didn't fancy the work of our UFO and concedes. We're going to move on to the next battle. Solgaleo. This is one of them Pokemon I'm talking about, where I believe most people cheated to obtain. And if you're wondering why I think that, if you look to the right, PvP Fight Club, we've got 20,000 members. I see a whole heap of people flexing there. Mythicals, and I know that 99% of them cheated, as they are my friends. It is what it is. I'm not going to call anyone out, but they all openly admit that they cheated to obtain them. So therefore, when people come and tell me, I got it legit, I'm like, did you? Probably not. As always, we've gone off on a mad tangent. Let's return some commentary. We send back out Magnezone. AK calls the Meteor Mash. That is resisted trainer and Magnezone, despite having about 6 HP in total. Despite being level 50, shrugged off the damage. We full send the Wild Charge, vanquishing Metagross. Back to their Pokeball, back out comes Solgaleo. Unless this is a flamethrower, it's going to be resisted. AK again calls the bait, full sends the Wild Charge. The opponent invests their final Protect Shield, and here comes Swampert of a 2-0 shield advantage. AK farms up, fires off the Hydro Cannon, but we lose CMP. AK unwilling to shield up the Psychic Fangs. We return fire with the Hydro Cannon. Is Hydro Cannon enough to knock out? No, it's not. Heartbreaking. AK really needs to start shielding. Finally, we see him deploy a Protect Shield. The opponent's final Pokemon is Shadow Gary, and there is going to be absolutely nothing we can do here. We're going to fire off the Hydro Cannon, which does hit for decent resisted damage. Gyarados gets the full Dragon Breath farm down. They Dragon Breath down our Magnezone, and unfortunately we take a loss. Moving on to the next one. Now we are talking Shadow on Shadow crime. Magnezone into Metagross. The opponent safe switch into Giratina Origin. We fire off the Mirror Shot, hoping for the attack drop. The opponent actually invests the Protect Shield. Interesting. We then answer their Shiny with our own Shiny. The opponent full send the Shadow Ball. But as Magnezone did indeed get the attack drop, that Shadow Ball did pretty much nothing. Dragonite farms up, fires off the Dragon Claw, securing the knockout back out. Comes Metagross. Dragon Breath is resisted. But let's not kid ourselves. Dragon Breath, one of the most busted fast moves in the game, is still going to chunk. We full send the Super Power. Metagross now approaching the red. Dragonite still not done. Makes one final Dragon Claw. The opponent opts to invest their final protection. AK has found himself in an absolutely beautiful position. We send in Swampert. The opponent likely to bait, but we may as well shield. The opponent does throw the bait. Swampert is going to be able to Mudshot farm down. The opponent says fuck the algorithm and concede the match. And that is going to draw to a close set number 1, where Akchillywilly went a very impressive 4-1. We've got 3 sets today, so grab a snack, sit back, relax. There is plenty more trash talking and hopefully some shadow booms to come. In the next battle, we pick up the absolute dream lead. Our UFO into Gyarados, the opponent interestingly staying in. We even had a cheeky master beta session, forcing a protection with the Mirror Shot. Magnezone now gets the full Spark farm down. Out comes Metagross. Akchillywilly YOLOs the Wild Charge, which lands for huge neutral damage. Here comes Swampert. Swampert does outpace Metagross to the Hydro Cannon. The opponent already down 1 Protect Shield. Completely sacked Metagross. The opponent putting all their hopes and dreams on the back of Dragonite. However, this is just game over. We see the instant no shield deployed on the Dragon Claw. Swampert shrugs off the damage, gonna fire off the Hydro Cannon for some solid chip damage. Well, not really. What the heck? The opponent actually invests the Protect Shield. Very questionable. We've now got our own Dragonite with a 2-0 shield advantage. AK sends out his Dragonite. We then look to make a catch, but the opponent also concede, and we pick up another very quick dub. Moving on to the next one. What a lead. Magnezone into Togekiss. The opponent safe switch into Swampert. The issue with Swampert is that you get completely walled by stuff like Dragonite, unless you've got Sludge Wave. And what do you know? The opponent does have Sludge Wave. You can see Dragonite can tank 2 reasonably well. I believe this is only actually a Hydro Cannon, so we can tank that even better. The opponent didn't commit to the Sludge Wave the second time, which is going to allow AK to overfarm. To near max energy, we fire off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw does force the knockout. Back out comes Togekiss, AK, looking to get off the 2 superpowers. I don't think we're going to get off the second, but either way, it doesn't really matter as Magnezone is such a wall to this thing. The opponent's final Pokemon is Ho-Oh. We're going for the world's safest bait. There's no shot the opponent doesn't shield. We land the bait, we show him Swampert, and it's going to be RPS for the win. And now it's time for another mad tangent. I was watching one of Foe's videos earlier. I recommend go watching it. It was using Shadow Venusaur in the Open Master League, but that's not what I want to talk about. He said a Pokemon wall something else. And someone was like, oh, but it's got a coverage move. So in theory, Togekiss has 2 coverage moves to hit Magnezone, Aura Spear and Flamethrower. However, both of them are going to take 10 charms or 30 turns, which takes an eternity, and Magnezone would spark that piece of shit down before it got there. So indeed, like Foe would say, Magnezone would wall it. Getting into their next battle, we'll lead Magnezone into Dragonite. Despite me rambling on, I was counting the opponent didn't build up to the superpower. AK showed no respect, forced both Protect Shields with the double Wild Charge. We then send out our own Dragonite. AK doesn't shield up the move, which is a fantastic call as the opponent sent out Togekiss with would have shielded, would have just got Charm down, Farm down. We've now got Magnezone reasonably healthy to deal with this Togekiss and hopefully a 2-shield Swampert to sweep the back line. Magnezone actually isn't as healthy as one thought, so maybe my mad tangents need to stop and need to pay more attention. We fire off the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot doesn't knock out, we then pivot out into Swampert. We call the Ancient Power. The opponent actually has Aerial Ass Swampert, shrugs off the damage. We're going to be unable to Mud Shot Farm down. We're going to be forced to throw the Hydro Cannon. Hydro Cannon does secure the knockout. Back out comes Dragonite, and it looks like we could save 2 shields for next season. I don't think there's anything we can beat. AK shields up the Dragon Claw, fires off the Hydro Cannon, but Hydro Cannon isn't even going to knock out Dragonite from this range. We're going to be unable to Mud Shot, farm down, and this is going to be another loss. GG's regardless. And actually, when I say another loss, we've only actually lost 2 battles in the entire video. We're about 12 minutes in. In the next battle, we see the Dream lead and one of the Dream safe switches. Are we going to call the bait last second? We commit a Protect Shield, and my god, that's a great shield from AK, as Outrage would have done a lot of damage. AK very nicely overfarms, fires off the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw secures the knockout. We've got one very healthy Dragonite. The opponent send back out the Legacy Dragon Tail Gyarados to fight our Dragonite. Dragonite lands the Dragon Claw. The opponent not at the crunch yet. Dragonite able to outpace the Dragon Claw number 2. The opponent completely sacking this Gyarados, which is the correct play as we've got Magnezone. The opponent fire off the crunch. Dragonite withstands the damage, gets the Dragon Breath farm down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Metagross, and High Trainer meets Swampert. Oh, actually, we're not sending out Swampert. We're sending out Magnezone to force some energy. We go for the Mirror Shot bait. We wasn't actually at the Wild Charge, so evidently the opponent needs to go to school. They should be counters. They could have definitely saved that shield. The opponent full sends the Earthquake. Out comes Swampert, and the opponent inevitably concedes the match. Magnezone into Ho-Oh. We don't fancy this matchup. We've got 2 better responses in the back. We send out Dragonite. The opponent answer with Zekrom. Dragonite does outpace Zekrom, as Zekrom's cheapest charge move is 45 energy, whereas we've got 35 energy Dragon Claw. AK can very safely play out the 1 shield. We shield up the crunch. We didn't get the defense shot. We look for the Dragon Breath farm down. Dragonite does get it on an absolute sliver of HP. Back out comes Ho-Oh. Despite us having minimal HP, we could have actually thrown 3 Dragon Breaths, then the Dragon Claw to do a little bit more damage, as the Incinerate wouldn't register till the 4th turn. AK sends out Swampert. Swampert gonna respect the Brave Bird. The opponent bait with the more expensive Sacred Fire, and then send out Shadow Mewtwo, but stay in school, kids. Learn to count. We don't have any Protect Shields remaining, but we did manage to catch the resisted Side Strike onto Magnezone. AK not even building up to the Wild Charge, just going for the Mirror Shot. Mirror Shot forces the final Protect Shield, and this is why I say it's absolutely paramount that you're counting moves, because the opponent didn't need to shield that. I think the opponent has found their lose con. Back out comes Swampert. We fire off the Hydro Cannon immediately. Mewtwo has no Protect Shields, too hard behind. Back out comes Ho-Oh. We throw 2 Mud Shots and the Hydro Cannon for optimal fast move timing, and vanquish this bird back to their Pokeball with the help of 1 more Mud Shot. GG's. And that is going to draw to a close set number 2, where we go again a very impressive 4-1. So when Akchillywilly sent me these battles, I did message him back saying, what's the thought process and why you're running Spark? I imagine he was probably going to say that he prefers 2-turn moves over 4-turn moves, because I think a lot of people, myself included, don't like the clunky 4-turn Volt Switch. However, he actually said if he got Magnezone, got access to Volt Switch this season. So he said he's going to do some battles and let me know how he gets on. And we can all see together how he got on as we're about to showcase one set with Volt Switch. So getting back into the commentary. We'll lead Magnezone into Metagross. You can already see the Volt Switch damage is a lot more oppressive than the Spark. We full send the Wild Charge and again look to catch the charge move onto Swampert. The opponent this time saw Swampert coming in, but regardless, Swampert did tank the Earthquake reasonably well, and we draw out Kyogre. Kyogre is going to also eat an Earthquake from our Shadow Swampert, and that also does a lot of damage because this whale is one big bulky boy. I like AK's decision here to send out Dragonite, as Dragonite is going to absorb the energy from Kyogre a lot better than our Magnezone would, because we do resist water, whereas Magnezone, despite electric hitting water for super effective, does not resist. AK going to tank both Surfs, commit to the full Dragon Breath farm down. The opponent send back out Metagross, AK not falling for any of that instant throw nonsense, completely Dragon Breath farms down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Mewtwo. Mewtwo invests his first Protect Shield on the first Dragon Claw, AK at the back-to-back, fires them off simultaneously. The second Dragon Claw does land. The opponent going to be unable to Psycho Cut farm us down. They throw the Side Strike on the CMP type. AK allows Dragonite to go down, sends back out Magnezone. AK does opt to throw a charge move. I think we could just completely Volt Switch farm down. The opponent is staying in. Do they have Focus Blast? The only lose con would be us trying a 2 shield flex. AK respects it and the opponent does YOLO it, playing to their only win con. However, no sneaky Focus Blast is landing today, and we're off to a 1-0 start, repping Volt Switch. Let's go. Heading into the next battle. We'll lead Shadow Magnezone into Togekiss. A great opportunity to talk about fast move time, and if the opponent doesn't pivot, actually they stay in. Thanks, trainer. So this is going to allow me to talk through this matchup. So when using 4 turn versus 3 turn, ideally you want to throw it 2 or 5. So that'll be 8 turns versus 9 turns, or 20 versus 21. On the flip side, if you're using 3 turn versus 4 turn, a great example of this is Psychic Cup. If you're going to use Galarian Slowbro using Hex into Alolan Raichu, you ideally want to throw after 1 or 5. That's 3 versus 4 or 15 versus 16. However, getting back into the commentary, we got the full Volt Switch farm down. Akchillywilly baited this Tin Can with the Mirror Shot. The opponent showed huge cojones, calling the bait, then correctly shielded off a Wild Charge. They looked to get rid of Magnezone with the resisted Rock Slide. Akchillywilly opts the shield to get off the next Wild Charge. The opponent looks for the resisted Thundershock farm down. Despite Magnezone having a 4-stage lower defense, we make the Mirror Shot. The opponent snipe with Kyogre. We show him the Dragonite, and that's going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle. Yikes, dreadful lead. The opponent actually triple resist our Volt Switches. We pivot into Dragonite, drawing out Metagross, and things are not looking fantastic. This is actually fairly neutral, but that Garchomp is going to be a problem. We shield the superpower. This is going to enable Akchillywilly to make a play at switch, and we are going to see him invest a Protect Shield on the Meteor Mash. Dragonite can now overfarm. Akchillywilly fires off the Dragon Claw, looking to flip switch. Is the opponent going to allow us to flip switch? No, they're not. They look for the Bullet Punch farm down. Okay, we should force both Protect Shields here, which we do. Swampert is going to have to do absolute goat things here. As we've lost switch, I'd like to see AK bring in Magnezone, use it as the third shield, because if we send in Swampert, we need to respect the Earthquake and give him back any advantage we've got. We look to call the bait, yeah. So what I mean by that is, as we've lost switch, our Magnezone is going to be lined against Garchomp regardless. So the best use of it would be just to soak the energy, come in with Swampert with a shield advantage and a running start of energy, and hope to sweep the back line. As AK didn't do that, there is nothing we can do. We send up Magnezone. The opponent actually YOLO a Flamethrower as well. Holy smokes. Very tricky game. Moving on to the next one. Magnezone into Rhyperior. The opponent on Mud Slap. And look at the Mud Slap damage. We pivot out into Dragonite, and the opponent answer with their own Dragonite. But we have got a huge running start of energy. If we flip switch here, I think we're in an absolutely great spot. The opponent shielded our Dragon Claw, and AK instantly shields up the opponent. AK needs to be mindful not to let the opponent sneak any Dragon Tails. He throws at great timing, getting off Dragon Claw. Number 2, the opponent do give a switch. Let's go. The opponent's final Pokemon is Metagross. I think Swampert again is going to be the GOAT here and clean up. We fire off the Dragon Claw. It doesn't do too much damage again. Just bring out Magnezone, completely sack it. The opponent, this is only a Meteor Mash. Do we survive Meteor Mash? Let's go. We do survive. We reach the wild charge. Wild charge should force the final protect shield to land for huge damage. The opponent give us that final shield. Then combo into Rhyperior. Swampert can easily tank whatever the opponent throws. We do respect the Stone Edge. Interesting. Definitely not the correct move. But either way, Swampert is going to clean up. Hydro Cannon vanquishes Rhyperior back to their Pokeball. We reach the Earthquake. And that is going to be all she wrote. GG's and thanks for playing. So the difference there was AK recognised that his lead was pretty useless. He went to sack it, and then Swampert with shield advantage cleaned up. Moving on to the next one. Magnezone into Dragonite. This opponent does build up to a superpower. AK looking to call the bait last second. Puts up a protect shield. The opponent masturbates like an absolute savage. But AK undeterred. Full sends the wild charge. The opponent show no respect. They get absolutely wrecked. Let's fucking go. The opponent send out Ursaluna. I think we've got to pivot. We really need to pivot. AK fires off the mirror shot. We then do see the pivot. I really like that play. And this is exactly why. Because the opponent's got Togekiss in the back. We've kept our Magnezone alive, which can deal with this. And then Swampert is going to be aligned with that Ursaluna. AK recognising he's made a great play. Stops tapping. The opponent might be smiling, thinking we've lagged out. However, trainer, we have not. We send back out Magnezone. We fire off the mirror shot. Do we start forcing protect shields? We do force the first protect shield. The opponent then throw on alignment. We sneak the Volt Switch. Ancient Power doesn't knock us out. AK again going for the mirror shot. If the opponent shields this is game over. The opponent does shield the bait again. Let's go. We send out Swampert. All AK Akchillywilly's got to do is shield whatever the opponent throw. Even if it's a Thunder Punch, no one cares. Just shield. The opponent actually YOLO the high horsepower Swampert now. Going to be able to farm up to the back-to-back Hydro Cannons. This Hydro Cannon will vanquish the Big Bear back to their Pokeball. And this Hydro Cannon is going to take care of Togekiss. The opponent realises the game's over and concedes the match. And unfortunately, that is going to draw to a close today's showcase. I had a lot of fun shoutcasting this. So first of all, huge shout out to AK Akchillywilly for a great battle submission. He went a very impressive 12-3 with an incredibly spicy team that featured not a single mythical or legendary Pokemon. So Shadow Magnezone, we got to see it on both Spark and Volt Switch. I personally think Volt Switch is better, although it is less forgiving. 4-turn moves are clunky and Magnezone is incredibly glassy. So if you're going to use Magnezone, you can run it on Spark. Makes it a bit more forgiving. Having a 2-turn move makes it a bit easier to switch in and out. When you're using a 4-turn move, the animation is very long and you do get stuck in that animation. You need to be quite switched on with the game to use a 4-turn move quite well. You need to be able to pause, etc. if you want to make them catches. I think Shadow Swampert is always going to be decent in any format. That Mud Shot Hydro Cannon combination is always deadly. But that is pretty much all I've got to say. I've yapped forever. If you made it to this part in the video, respect to that. But if you're new, consider subscribing. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you like your battles featured on my channel, like AK Akchillywilly, a link to my battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching. And I will see you all in the next one.